It is like an absolute pleasure. I am always delighted when I have Paul McCaffrey, a.k.a. Paulie Mac, on the program. You know it's a party when Paulie's in town. We're talking Warriors. They're in Hawaii, brother. Why are we not in Hawaii? That's absolutely insane. Let's go to the islands, man. Well, for now, we'll metaphorically go. We'll do it in our minds, but we'll talk Warriors. It's the golden days. Here we go.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Woo! Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you
Oh yeah, dude. Paulie's got the drums going. Time to wake up and party. Welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host, Cyrus Saatsaz. That guy next to me is Paul McCaffrey. You can follow him over on Twitter. The handle's super easy. It's Paulie's Pod. He's got a show coming very soon called Paulie's Particles. I want to get the hype going now. January, brother, right? Is that the launch?
Yeah, Cyrus, good to see you, bro. We're going to launch a new show in January, and I'll be bringing in some familiar names, believe me. I'm not going to reveal too much yet because we're still ramping up to it, but yeah, coming soon in January. We're going to pick up right where we left off, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm excited, and obviously anything you want from me for your program, I'm available for. Today's episode, real fast, to pay the bills, to give some love to the official sponsor of Golden Days, is Bet Online, and they re-upped with us through middle of next year. I cannot be more elated. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Before we fully get into Warriors, they haven't even played a game yet. The first preseason game is this Saturday. So when I do these Bet Online reads where the focus right now is football, this gives me a chance to talk to my guest about the San Francisco 49ers just for a second. Dude, your thoughts on that Patriots game? I know the Patriots are a rebuilding squad, man.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not bragging about beating that team, but still, I thought Purdy looked good. What was your reaction to the Niners evening things up to the record?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, I was glad they got back on track with a win because those last 2 weeks were pretty distressing, man. Watching the Niner defense, have all these mishaps on special teams. We saw 2 weeks in a row starting back in Minnesota. And, and also their secondary, the Niners secondary, was giving up like big plays, big deep passes in the 2 previous games. So I was really glad to see all that heat on the quarterback. Like Brissett was under distress all day. Like Bosa was all over him. And I think that was probably Nick Bosa's best game of the year. But the thing is, and Jordan Mason was great. And like you said, Brock Purdy's just playing great football, man. He's become a very, very smart, high IQ NFL quarterback, and he's just going to continue to get better. So I have no concerns with Purdy. I thought Mason was great. Fred Warner, my fingers are crossed for his health. I mean, what he's doing so far this year is just it's a pleasure to watch this guy. I mean, he looks like a Hall of Famer. The only thing, Cyrus, I would say is what you just said up front, which is like, yeah, it was a nice win, but is it more a result of the New England Patriots just being lost at sea? Because that team really does not have a lot going for it on either side of the ball. We'll get a better feel, I guess, this weekend. We'll see, how real that win really was. But, dude, I mean, let me throw a question at you. Like, what's your stress level and or concern about Christian McCaffrey? Like, are you worried at all? Like, what do you expect to happen there?
I'm actually not, dude. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows, right? I mean, when you're talking about calf, Achilles, like, that's certainly a scary part of the body to have injured for a player like McCaffrey, who relies on speed, athleticism like no other. With that said, dude, this Mason kid looks fantastic. He has made me forgot all about Christian McCaffrey. Look, here's my thing with the Niners, man. And I brought this up with Larry Krueger yesterday as well, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. I think this comes down to Purdy, man. Like all the Niners' fate and fortune and their success, it's all hindered on where Brock Purdy is as a quarterback. If he is the true next coming, the Niners, I think, are going to be fine. I'm not worried. But I know this is a potentially controversial take, but I'm just still not 100% sold on Purdy yet. I think he's going to be an NFL quarterback for the next 15 years. Like he's earned his spot. He's shown he can play. But what separates like the good quarterbacks from the elite, the Patrick Mahomes, are those late game plays, man, like making big plays when they count, converting third downs on a game-winning drive. And I just haven't seen that consistency yet from Purdy. I need to see some game-winning drives at the end. The Super Bowl still obviously scars me, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but my question to you is, and this is what I'd love to know your thoughts on, and we'll talk Warriors right after this.
Yeah.
Is, do you think it's time to let Purdy loose? Like, I love Kyle Shanahan's scheming. I love the run-heavy offense. I think you need that to throw a defense off balance. With that said, there's a lot of people clamoring, and I get it, for Purdy to start being let loose in terms of a no huddle, in terms of maybe just like airing it out with 35, 40 pass attempts a game. What are your thoughts on that, dude? Do you like the offense where it is, or do you think maybe it's time to let loose?
You know, it's funny you say let loose, because I thought you were going to start talking about Brock Purdy's ability to scramble and run with the football. Because this year, like when he's been under stress in the pocket, he's like last week, he tucked it in and ran for 2 first downs in the first half alone. Like, he's really smart with the football in his hand when he becomes a runner. So in that sense, yeah, I'd say definitely turn him loose. Let him keep scrambling for first down. As far as no huddle, that's very intriguing. I tell you, I would love to see that. I really would. I
feel like that's how you'll know for sure if Purdy's really the guy, right? Like, just take the playbook away. Just let them play some backyard, some down the street Thanksgiving with your friends at the local park football, and just let's just see how he is instinctually, right? Like, not when you're part of a script. That's what I'm curious about. But and at least one person in the chat wants to jump in Niners real fast. Is Sean, who has actually come on the show live before, says they're not going to do much with. So what are your thoughts on McCaffrey, on Christian McCaffrey? Like, is he going to be okay? Like, are you worried?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I'm worried a little bit when you find out this is a condition now that he has in both of his legs. That's kind of distressing. And then, the thing is, it doesn't sound like under the best case scenario that we would see him on the field until November. That's another month, obviously. So I'm not worried, but I'm definitely like keeping my antenna up, and I'm kind of bracing myself for this not to go as well as people think, because it may not. Like, it may not. He might not get back on the field. And when he does, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do. It's going to be a huge question mark, Cyrus. So we got to see, like, how healthy he is. Can he cut? Can he start and stop the way he, that's all running backs need to in the NFL? And those are questions that can't get answered until we see him on the field. So, but I know it's going to be at least a few more weeks before we even come close to seeing him on a football field. So,
well, here's what I do know, man. It's early October. To me, this is the best time of year, dude. It's weather-wise, even though it's like ridiculously hot lately. I feel like we've come to the point where moderate weather is no longer a thing. Either it's disgustingly hot or you're cold, regardless of where you are. With that said, it's early October, man. So on Saturday, we got the Warriors preseason opener.
Yeah.
And then football Sunday, right? And if you love college football, that's you're already set on Saturday anyways. But dude, we're in the meat of the calendar, dude, in terms of just so much beautiful things going on. And you could bet on it with Bet Online. They got stats, matchups, live odds, and spreads to bet on during the games. And if you think you know your stuff, you're one of those arrogant SOBs out there who thinks they're smarter than everyone else, put your money where your mouth is. Get in on the $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. I want to go back to the chat real fast because Kiev, how do you pronounce this? Key 17 wrote to me because Larry Kruger, our mutual close friend, was on the show yesterday. And Larry isn't sure the Warriors can win more than 37 games. To clarify, I did not say that I agree with that per se, but I understand the sentiments, man. I could understand people out there who think this Warriors team is not going to do it. I have no idea, man. I have no predictions at this point. What are your thoughts on the Warriors, man? Early predictions from Paul McCaffrey.
Right, Paulie predictions. That's what they call me. That's what they call me on the streets. Cyrus, I'll be walking down the street. People stop me. Paulie, give me a prediction. I'll be like, Rams +3. I got to go. They're like, thanks. I don't know. Cyrus, as far as the Warriors go, man, there's nowhere to go but up, right? Like last year was so bitterly disappointing the way it all kind of just like fell over and went sideways. It was so un-Warrior-like. And again, like France wasn't that long ago. Watching Steph Curry just light up the entire globe with his sharpshooting in that gold medal game. Well, hell, really the entire tournament, but that gold medal game, I think, is something no one's going to forget. So the reason I bring that up, this guy is still clearly in the prime of his career. What you have with Steph Curry is every bit as much as what the Bulls had with Michael Jordan. You have to really capitalize when you're lucky enough to have one of the all-time greats, in his case, the best shooter in the history of the game. You got to put everything you have into succeeding while that player is still here. So you're right, dude. There's a lot of questions. Like, there's a lot of new names. In fact, I want to do like a word association. I want to throw some new names at you because these are guys like these are guys like I need to get more familiar with. So like I want to give you three Warrior names, new guys, and I want you to just tell me like what you think of them and what we can expect, like, or how they'll fit in. I'll start with Buddy Hield. That's a guy I like. I think Buddy Hield can help the Warriors. I do. I think he's a role player. But what I hope, Cyrus, is that he could become a guy like Sean Livingston was, or Mo Spates, or Barbosa, meaning come off the bench, give me a hot hand, give me a couple of mid-range shots, whatever, because Buddy Hield can ball. He can score. And so maybe that'll be his role. I don't know. What do you think when I say Buddy Hield, the Warrior? What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, I want to, when you say Buddy Hield, I just want to correct Monty Poole of NBC Sports Bay Area. Nothing, dude, I like Monty, but
yeah,
he claimed yesterday that he was breaking a story that Warriors assistant Chris DeMarco was the individual who recruited Buddy Hield to the Warriors. We actually broke that story a month earlier, right on this program, when Sophia Jones broke that story regarding Chris DeMarco and the fact that DeMarco and Buddy Hield were working together as part of the Bahamas team leading into the Olympics. And to add to that, what Sophia Jones told me, which was music to my ears, is that a huge reason why Buddy Hield was recruited to the Golden State Warriors, and I didn't know this until Sophia reported this, again, on this show exclusively, is that Buddy Hield is a fantastic offensive player off the ball, meaning, you know, it's pretty well known at this point that the Warriors offense is predicated on off-ball movement, right? Like Steph is just running circles around everyone. Clay would constantly be moving if he's not stationed in the corner as a decoy. And Buddy Hield, according to Sophia's report, excels at that. Like, he is an off-the-ball machine, constantly moving around, wearing the defense down. And he's also, you know, we're going to hear these words read and react a lot this season, you know, applying to Steve Kerr's offense. And Buddy Hield excels at that. He excels at off-ball movement. So based off that information and the fact that we all know Buddy Hield's a terrific shooter to begin with, I'm stoked, man. I don't know if we're going to see like 20 points a game. I don't even know if we'll see 15 points a game. But what I do know is that with Buddy Hield, at a bare minimum, you're spacing the floor and you're making life a lot easier for Steph and Curry. And the fact that his style of play fits with the Warriors makes me happy. So Buddy Hield makes me happy.
Okay, good. No, I agree. I like it too. I think he's going to help the team. I really do. Another name. You tell me, Kyle Anderson, go.
Well, his nickname is Slow-Mo, right?
Right.
For good reason. And Larry Krueger was not a fan of the Kyle Anderson signing. I am of the opposite coin, where I love the pickup, man. First of all, he's one of the tallest players on the team, which is kind of weird, but it's true. He's 6'9", second tallest on the team behind just Quentin Post. Although Trace Jackson Davis, if the reports are true that he grew an inch this offseason. Have you heard about that, by the way? Like,
I did. Yeah.
Like, the guy at 24 years old is experiencing growing pains. That's incredible. But regardless, so I love it, man. Kyle Anderson is someone who I think every year he's played in the game, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong on this, but I read somewhere that he has, and maybe it was in the chat yesterday, that every year he's been in the league, he's made the playoffs. So he's a winner, right? He wins. He's got a very high basketball IQ. The Warriors need a guy like him on this team. It was lacking last year. They have it this year. He's a guy who for years I looked at when the Warriors would play the Grizzlies or the Timberwolves. My thought was, why the hell isn't this guy on our team? And now he is. So stoked is my word association with Kyle Anderson. Stoked. What's yours?
Okay. One more for you, Cyrus.
All right.
We can talk about, then we can get into some of the roster names.
Love it. No, this is fun.
DeAnthony Melton. What's he going to give us?
DeAnthony Melton. The only thing I'll say to you for that in terms of word association, Jared Jack.
Okay.
You remember that guy?
Nice. I like Jarrett Jack. Jarrett Jack was a great player. Dude, you remember Jarrett Jack was like right there when the Warriors were starting to transition into becoming like a really good team. Like, and from what I remember, wasn't he a bit of a mentor to a very young Steph Curry for a season?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. He was a part of a team again that upset the Nuggets in the first round.
Yeah.
Right? The Warriors were the 6th seed that year. That led to Andre Iguodala coming to the Warriors after that.
Yeah.
He was part of a team that beat the Spurs in San Antonio the next round. That was the first time in nearly 20 years the Warriors accomplished that feat. If DeAnthony Melton can beat Jarrett Jack, dude, brilliant signing. But if we see back problems, if we see missed games, if we're seeing him out there with small ball lineups or DeAnthony Melton at 6'3" is like your small forward, dude, I'm going to pull out what remaining hair I have, dude. Like I'm going to lose my shit. So, but I love the signing. DeAnthony Melton, Jarrett Jack. That is my word.
Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
What were your thoughts on all those three now? Your turn.
Well, again, like I said, the other two, the last two, I'm a little bit less confident on what I can tell you that they're going to actually give to the team. Buddy Hield, I can speak to a little more fluently because I've seen a lot of Buddy Hield in his career. I hope Kyle Anderson can be what you said, and if DeAnthony Melton can be a Jarrett Jack, dude, that would be tremendous. Now, some of the younger guys that need to take big, giant He-Man, all grown-up steps this year, I'm going to start with, well, there's two guys. I want to talk about Kuminga and I want to talk about Podziemski, and I am personally looking for big growth years out of both those dudes, especially Kuminga. Time for Kuminga to start putting his foot down, exerting a little force. Like, I want to see him flying to the rim, man. You were talking earlier about turning Brock Purdy loose. Let him use all that up-tempo offense and stuff. Dude, I want to see Kurt turn Kuminga loose. Let him fly to the rim, dude. He might be the most athletic guy in the entire roster. And I say, let's see him utilize that athleticism.
I'm 100% with you. And see Steve Wilton in the chat. And my guess is you're going to see Steve on your show as well when Paulie's Particles launches in January. Steve says that I said they're a 500 team. Here is just to clarify. All right. Larry on yesterday's show said that he would not in a million years bet the over on the Warriors over under for their win total next year. It's 43.5. The Warriors won 46 last year, 44 the year before that. I would not recommend betting the over. Okay, like I just don't. I wouldn't feel solid about that. Is that a prediction? No, I'm not making any predictions, man, because I don't know how you could. There's so many new players on this team. It's impossible. Yeah. But here's what I'll say with certainty, man. If Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski take a big leap this year, and the free agent signings pan out, and Wiggins stops this regression that's been going on, the Warriors are going to be a great team. Those are a lot of ifs, though. Those are a lot of ifs. And if those three things do not all happen together, then you're probably, unless they make a trade this season, going to see a likely 500 team, man. So that is what I'm guessing with this squad, man. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do, actually. That's interesting. You know, I'm thinking about the last time the Warriors won a title, the year they beat Boston in Boston and Steph went off and got the MVP and all that. Did you think that was a championship caliber team at the beginning of that season?
You mean the 2022 team?
Yeah.
I was, dude. And again, I don't mean to sound arrogant or to brag, but and I've said this before, and I think this is a huge reason why I have an audience, man. Is because I got hired by the previous network I was at, and one of the first shows I hosted. This was like in October, and I was doing the Rick Barry show before that. So I was saying this back in August of 2021. I thought the Warriors had the exact ingredients to win a title that year, man. I was guaranteeing it. And dude, check the tapes, man. It's all on record. I knew that team was going to win the title. The only other person who was with me was Stephen A. Smith, and I have to give him his kudos for that because he was the only other guy. And people were just like mocking me for that. And all of a sudden, I felt cornered because people were going like, "What the hell is wrong with you? You don't know your shit." Yeah, I knew my shit, dude. I knew that team was going to win, and it was two reasons. One is they put the perfect team around Stephen Curry, and two, the landscape of the NBA did not present an obstacle for that team at hand, man. I knew that team was going to win the title. I have not felt that way since, unfortunately.
Okay,
I really wish I did.
No, that's cool. I totally respect, and obviously, your ball, dude. I'm not surprised.
I try, man. I try. Thanks, brother.
No, and I'm not surprised that you could see it early. I couldn't. It took me a while that year. Like, I didn't know what that team was. That's why I kind of brought it up. And I think the biggest, to me, this is just me talking, but I think the biggest wild card for this team is Wiggins. you just like if Wiggins can become the Wiggins of 2022, I think you got a whole new world you can look at and say like, all right, the ceiling is pretty high for this team. But like you said, dude, if Wiggins is going to show up like the invisible man and kind of sleepwalk up and down the floor, like I don't know, do we ever get to put our finger on the root or the cause or the source of what was troubling him last year? Like I don't even know. Like what was with him last year? Do we get any information in the offseason about
Dre?
Excuse me?
Draymond you're talking about, or who?
No,
Wiggins?
Wiggins.
We still don't know, dude. He's one of the most private individuals. Like to put it in perspective, man. Like when Shams tweeted out a year and a half ago that the reason why Wiggins disappeared that first time, it was because his dad was ill. You still don't have any other reporters confirming that. Like,
no,
and then I had one source, and we talked about this, and that told me, and I trust this source, why at least a huge part of the reason why he was in and out, why he came into camp out of shape last year. But I couldn't get a second source, and I respect the fact that I shouldn't be reporting things with just one source of that magnitude, so I never went ahead and reported it. But look, his dad passed away. And he's clearly, you're as much of an insider as I am, Paulie. Like his dad, the dad was a part of it. He's been ill for a while. Yeah, he passed away. All we can hope for at this point is whatever has been plaguing Wiggins, bro, it's behind him, right? I mean, that's all we can hope for.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like if I know Wiggins is going to become like an assertive, aggressive player again, I think the Warriors. I mean, let me put it to you this way: I think the Warriors are a playoff team. I think like that. That to me is not an unrealistic goal, especially after coming off a year where they don't get in. I mean, I think there's going to be a little extra push. And let's hope Draymond's not going to miss big chunks of games again this year, because I really do think that if the Warriors could have won 2 or 3 of those games that Draymond missed with a suspension, they're probably in the playoffs last year. So hopefully Draymond doesn't have another suspension or nothing like that that's going to keep him away from the team. And let's hope Wiggins is going to be the Wiggins of 2022. Then suddenly I think you have a pretty exciting forecast. That's how I feel.
Absolutely, man. And real fast, just to clarify, Douglas Mikes in the chat wrote that I had a source tell me that Steph was retiring after this certain contract. That's incorrect. I had a source who told me it was their opinion. It was their feeling that he was going to retire. And I made that very clear, man. I never came out and said he was going to do it. I just told everyone, and I really did tell this source after the fact that he was wrong. I made that clear, and I'm done relying on their opinions on things after this. Yeah. But I also was very clear, Douglas, from the beginning that it was this individual's opinion that at the end of his contract, and that still might be the case. It's still he still might retire in 2 years and not play year 3 of that of his contract, that 1-year extension. But Douglas Mikes, you're right. That source's opinion was incorrect. But you need to differentiate between what an opinion and what an actual report is. And there was never a report given on this program or anywhere that Steph was going to retire. It was strictly an opinion. And you're right, I hate Ewoks. That person did say they would bet a year's worth of their salary that Steph was going to retire. Look, and they still might be right. Steph signing that extension does not automatically mean he's going to play out this contract. Hey. But with that said, again, it was their opinion. It was wrong. And then a different person, a different source told me the thing about Wiggins. But again, I could never get a second source because Wiggins is so private and insular that to get information about it is impossible. With that said, do you want to hear a soundbite from Steve Kerr about Andrew Wiggins, Paulie? Yes. Because the Warriors are currently in Hawaii right now, and you've got a handful of beat reporters there who are doing a fantastic job getting the sights and the sounds. And Sean, I'm going to answer your chat question in just a second. I saw the first one, I promise. But so there are a handful of reporters in Hawaii right now. The team is practicing at BYU Hawaii. I saw pictures today, Paulie, of them doing yoga on the beach.
I saw that too, dude. I saw that too. By the way, made me really depressed about my own physique because I see like Curry's out there. I got who else did I see? I think I saw Peyton. He was all twisted up in a pretzel. And I mean, dude, they're ripped. They got the tats going. I'm like, damn, I got to get back to the gym. Anyway, I saw those guys doing yoga and it like bummed me out about myself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I know, dude. You look well. If it makes you feel better, besides the fact that your shirt is absolutely awesome and incredible and perfect
Yeah.
for this time of year,
Yeah.
Spicoli is probably my favorite movie character of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you're not fat, bro. You don't look
No,
out
I
of
know.
shape.
I'm just
You're
playing.
good. You're
I'm
good.
just playing. Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying, man. And they were like on this grassy knoll, like near
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
beach,
Yeah.
doing their little yoga thing. It's just,
Yeah.
oh my god. So anyway, so they're in Hawaii right now. And Steve Kerr talked about Andrew Wiggins and what he wants from him this coming year. And this is courtesy of Anthony Slater, who does a fantastic job as a journalist covering the Warriors. Here is Steve Kerr talking about what he wants from Andrew Wiggins.
He's talking about taking 8 to 10 threes per game. Is that too ambitious, or is that actually what?
I like the mentality. Whether it turns into 8 or 10, who knows? But I want Wiggs shooting, 6, 7 threes a game. I want Brandon. I want Moses. I want D'Anthony. I want to be a high volume 3-point shooting team. I think that's important for us. And the big shift is Clay's not here, right? So we're fourth in the league in 3-point attempts last year, but Clay probably shot 8 or 10 of them himself every game. So we're going to have to fill that void, and that's going to come from multiple people.
All right, I guess that's just that. So your thoughts, man, on where that void is going to come from. Did he mention Wiggins in that clip? Did I screw that up?
No, he did.
Okay, good. Okay. Your thoughts, Paulie?
Well, Kerr saying that he would like to see Wiggins shoot 6, 7, 8 threes a night. That's interesting. I mean, that they are going to need those Clay points from another source. So I'm open to it. I mean, I'm open to it. I know he can hit them when he's in the right headspace and all that. And I guess it kind of leads me to another question for you, Cyrus, which is, what is the real – and I've been trying to wrap my head around this too, and I guess we'll know more when we see these guys start playing. But, what do you think the immediate effect on this team is by not having Klay Thompson? How does that immediately affect the team other than the obvious points that you would be getting from them?
I think that the chemistry-wise, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Klay was grumpy last year, dude, and that's no secret, right?
Yeah.
He was obviously unhappy. Every time from my eyes, from my observations, it wasn't like he was rallying the troops and raising the morale of the squad. So I don't think the Warriors are missing much there. I also think Klay was a massive crutch for Steve Kerr. So it was a favor to Steve to have Klay move on, because Steve it was almost like this twitch he had that he just couldn't resist, impulsively twitching about regarding getting the ball to Klay. I mean, Klay Thompson, dude, should not have had this third highest minutes. It was that second, or it might have been second, the second highest minutes in that Kings loss last year in the play-in, where he was 0 for 10. He should not have just kept playing, dude. You had other players on this team to put in for him. So with that said, dude, I think they're actually going to be better defensively. But right now, dude, they don't have a clear-cut number 2. So when Steph is not in the game, or when Steph is being double teamed and he has to defer, I think the void is who the hell is going to pick up that slack, man? Because before it was clearly Klay. Now, Paulie, I'll throw it to you. Who's that guy, man?
Great question. Well, that's a huge – I mean, I think it's going to have to come from a variety of sources. I really do. I think some of it will come from Wiggins. I think some will come from Buddy Hield, who we talked about earlier. Hell, some of it might come from Podziemski. We haven't really talked about him yet. This is a big year for that kid, man. I think Steve Kerr I don't know this for sure, but my guess would be that Steve Kerr was really thrilled with what he got from Podziemski last year. I mean, that thing really blossomed. And do you think he can be what do you think in a best case scenario, point scoring wise, points per game? What do you think best case scenario Podziemski points per game would be this year?
I think if he hits 15 a game, I'm happy.
Boy. That would be huge.
It would be huge, yeah. And you know what's funny, by the way, Paulie? I think you'll appreciate this, man. I randomly ended up just chatting with Pods for 10 minutes on Monday.
Nice.
Just out of the blue, dude. He was just sitting there waiting to get into one of these booths to take photos or do an interview. And I'm just standing there. Everyone's exhausted. It's more mellow than usual. And all of a sudden, I'm striking up a conversation with this kid, talking about everything from relationships to go into that soccer game during the offseason with Kuminga. And then I was going to get into talking with him about his shot, which I think is a huge reason why he was drafted in the first round in the first place. He shot 43.8% from deep in college, and then he got pulled away. But Here's the immediate two impressions I got from a 10-minute conversation with Brandon Pajemski. One, he's very personable. I get the appeal. I understand why people like him as a person and why they like being around him. He's just, dude, he's lighthearted. You don't sense negativity, pouring out of him, man. He's a kid, which leads to number two. He's just a kid, dude. He's so young, Paulie. Like, he made me feel old, dude, because like you could just see the innocence. You could you could see someone who just has not experienced it a lot yet in life, man. And it's crazy, dude. We're getting old.
Cyrus, do we have time for another name? Because I mean, one of the biggest.
Of course, I'm on your schedule, dude. Yeah. So
okay, well then, this is a guy I think we have to talk about because the way Reggie Jackson, they used to say about Reggie when he was with the Yankees, he was the straw that stirred the drink. And in some ways, I think Draymond Green is the same way. Like when Draymond is firing on all cylinders, he's inspired, he's feeling good, he's dishing the ball. Like, I don't think there's anybody in Warrior history that understands Steph Curry and where he's going to be on the floor more than Draymond Green. Like, Draymond Green knows 3 seconds ahead before it even happens where Steph is going to be. Like, and that is irreplaceable. But what I saw Monday, like, he had that tense exchange with a reporter, Draymond, at media day. Like, and I don't want, like, we don't have to get too into that, but I thought
let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I thought it was odd. Like, I thought it was odd. And I think, like, I don't think Draymond did anything wrong. I mean, he was asked questions and I think he was surprised. He was like, whoa. But all I'm saying is, and we can't talk about Monday in that exchange, but Draymond, we have to have the best possible version of Draymond Green this year for the Warriors to really achieve anything. And I don't know. I just hope that happens. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Draymond. He walks that line and what do you think? Do you think he's learned from last year, the suspension? It really hurt the team. I don't think he's going to modify his ways. I mean, he is who he is. But what do you think? At this point in his career, he's getting a little older. What do you think we're going to get from Day?
I think what you just said at the end there, that he's set in his ways. He's not going to change who he is just because popular opinion is against him. Dude, all we can hope for is no more suspensions, right?
Yeah,
guarantee? Hell no, dude. I mean, again, I think just the spirit of that clip you're talking about. First of all, so we know for certain now. I think Bruce Morrow in the chat during yesterday's show said that the individual who was debating with him was Scott Ostler of the Chronicle. That you heard that too?
Well, I didn't hear that confirmed, but I heard the exchange, and it sounded like Scott to me.
Okay.
Like, it sounded like Scott's voice. And Scott's a friend of mine. I love Scott Ostler. He's one of the all-time greats. That dude, Scott Ostler, I mean, he's been in the Bay Area a long time. He also covered the Magic Johnson Lakers for the LA Times. Like, he's one of the best in the business. He's one of the best basketball writers of all time. But I don't know for sure. It certainly sounded like Scott to my ear. Yeah.
Why don't we hear it again, dude?
Okay.
Well, again, someone in the chat said that too. I couldn't figure out who it was because the reason why I wasn't sure if it was Scott is because I didn't see him at all.
Me neither. Right.
Even though it sounded like him, like I just, I never saw a visual and I wasn't in that room for that exchange. But it was, dude, this exchange is why I'm a little worried. I don't think he's going to just suddenly turn into like a mellow, quiet, like subservient, like toe the line company person. No, I don't think that's going to happen. But just because of how incredible this clip is, let's play it again.
Okay.
Here was Draymond Green sparring with a reporter yesterday regarding whether or not he's fine.
Maybe your teammates.
Why do they worry about me? I am a successful black man in America doing incredibly well. What's the worry?
They worry
about
about you.
There are way more people in this world to worry about than me. That's for sure.
But we're here now. So
we're all here. I don't think you should worry about me.
Okay.
I'm doing pretty well. If you would have told me when I was 13 years old in Saginaw, Michigan, without a pot to piss in, that you'd be sitting here and somebody would say they're worried about you, I would have probably told them they were out of their mind if I'd be sitting here and they'd be worried about me.
Well, they're worried themselves too. They want to know.
They don't feed.
They know the team needs
so
you.
Why are they worried?
Because they know the team needs you.
But they don't feed
and
them.
They don't know if
their
you're going to be
families
here.
Doing this. I'm here. I've been here for 13 years now.
If you're going to be here every night.
Been here pretty much every night for 13 years.
All right.
I think at that point, people were kind of like, what are you talking about, right?
You know what I think, Cyrus, hearing that back, it almost sounds like, and again, like you, I wasn't even in the room, so I can't say definitively, but it almost sounds like the reporter is asking Draymond something about they're worried about him in terms of his basketball career. And I think Draymond thought he was like worried about him like out in the world. And I think that's why Draymond was like, dude, don't worry about me. I'm doing great. Like, I don't think that was my impression. It felt like Draymond didn't really understand the nature of the question. It sounded like they both misunderstood each other. Are you feeling that, or am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I just don't know what's going on here. Like, the vibe I'm getting is I feel like Dre is just being very defensive. Like, you might be right where like maybe the reporter was talking more about his game and not his, his personal life.
Right.
But regardless, Draymond, I mean, I don't think it was necessary for him to be this defensive. Like, he just immediately just put a wall up and was like, dude, I'm fine, man. Like he was trying to like spin this into like a, there were bigger things to worry about in life, and he's right. But with that said, it's a press conference about the Warriors, about you. Let's hear the rest of this clip real fast, because it doesn't end there, man. It's not over. So here's the rest of it.
Very much so. We all have. Look, Kevon Looney played 82 games 2 years in a row, and everybody was celebrating. We all miss games. I'm always here. And suspensions, the guideline of getting suspended is something that's in place because it's a possibility. So I don't know what would change, but I don't get the question. I think my mindset has helped us do some great things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love him despite all this.
I do too. I totally love Draymond. I'm always going to defend Draymond Green, because the bottom line is, dude, you don't have those rings without him. Period. End of story. Like, if you take Draymond off any one of those championship teams, I don't think they win a ring. He's that critical to the whole, to the big picture. So no, I will always defend Draymond Green. But you're right. He did seem a little defensive right there. Hopefully it's an anomaly. I would think he's feeling better out in Hawaii. Dude, if you can't carry any grudges out to Hawaii, once you get out there, dude, it's just massive decompression. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's paradise out there, bro.
By the way, Cyrus, do your Warrior listeners and viewers here on Golden Days, do they know? I'm honestly asking. Do they know that you're like a surfer? Do they know that you surf?
I don't know. Good question. I have no idea. I don't.
Man, well, let me tell the audience right now. My man Cyrus tears up the waves, bro. Which leads me to a question: have you ever surfed out in Hawaii? Because I know you surf in California a lot.
The first wave I actually caught, where it was a wave that was good, was Hawaii.
Nice.
I love this paradise, bro. That island. I went there. The last time I went there was the Big Island, and I had a friend from high school who was living there, and her and her boyfriend took me to this beach where I guess they filmed Jurassic Park. I won't say the name of the beach because I'm guessing people will get pissed, at least on the mainland. But dude, there was a waterfall pouring into the ocean from this cliff right near where I was surfing. It was insane, dude.
No, I know. Yeah.
It's one of a kind, dude.
I love the Big Island, dude. I'm all about the Big Island. It's awesome.
Dude, Damian LaRoche, by the way, saying I have a house in Hilo. Dude, it rains like every day there, though, doesn't it? I mean, Hilo's like the rainy side, and then Kona's like the sunny side, I think, right? But
I just got to ask Damian LaRoche if he has room in the guest house for me and Cyrus. That
is the quest. See, dude, that's why you're – I can't do this on my own, bro.
All Damian has to do is put a couple of cots out there, and then me and you, we hang out for a couple of days. We'll take Damian surfing.
And Portola 45, yes. But Damian, please take Paulie up on that offer. We're coming with you. Portola 45, by the way, while we're talking surfing for just a moment here, bringing up vacationing in Tofino and Ucluelet, Canada. I don't know if you're aware of this, Paulie. So the two towns he's referencing are on a massively huge island. It's called Vancouver Island, right?
Yeah.
The biggest city is Victoria at the very southern end. This island is the size of the United Kingdom. Most of it is just forest. There's like one road that goes to these two little towns. I lived in, they call Ucluelet Yuki. That's what the locals call it. And I lived in that town once for 3 months, man. Right when my KNBR days ended, one of the first things I did, I had some free time. I got in a car with my girlfriend at the time, and we drove through like the middle of the country, saw Yellowstone, saw Canada, drove through the whole thing. And then we stopped in that town and just lived there for 3 months. and amazingly has waves there, dude. The cleanest water I was ever in. Sorry for the tangent. But
all good.
Anyway. Yeah. And Damien saying right here, it's a 3-bedroom. Paulie, we're set, dude.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Good.
Yeah, we're set.
Okay. We'll see you there, Damien.
Yeah, we'll see that. Yeah, exactly, dude. Just if you don't mind paying for the flights, dude, we're coming with you.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear, by the way, from Jonathan Kuminga in regards to his offensive progression? Because chances are he's the one that's going to have to carry the load, dude. Like he's probably going to have to be that number 2 guy. Would you agree with that? Like, on this team right now?
I think he's got a big responsibility this year. My only question with Kuminga is, and I don't know the answer, we're going to find out, is he up to the task? Like, is he ready to take that on? Do you think he is?
That is a great question. I do think he is, man.
Okay,
Here's the deal, Paulie. Last year, he was 7th on the team in minutes. That's absurd. Make him top 3, even top 5, dude, okay? Like, just give him the opportunity on that court. He will deliver. He averaged over 19 points per game since January. He's been working all offseason on every aspect of his game. I'm ready for it, dude. I think he's gonna come through. And here is Jonathan Kuminga talking about his role in this modified offense, his progression as a shooter, because, again, Steve Kerr runs a read and react offense, meaning he wants quick decisions. He wants shots up fast. He wants split-second decisions so that defenses don't have time to react to you. And here's Kuminga talking about that. Oh, whoops.
Just running more. The main focus was just Steve was talking how we all got to be in shape because we're going to be playing faster. And that's my sample game, and just can't wait.
Threes are emphasis too. He said he wants to be a high volume 3-point shooting team. Even with that play, I mean, just how much do you feel like you can up to kind of your 3-point?
I mean, all the time I've been working on my threes. Against defense, without defense, catch and shoot. Just trying to get my catch and shoot percentage way higher because that's going to help everybody. It's going to open up the floor even bit more. So I've just been working on that, and that's my main focus.
There you go. Paulie, your thoughts on the blonde hair and on Kuminga working on his 3?
I know, dude. He's got the you ever see Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes?
Yes.
He's got the Wesley Snipes dude going. Yeah, he looks fun. Bro, come on, Kuminga. Me and you, buddy. Let's make this happen, dude. I want to see, I like what you said. I want to see Kuminga take the next step. The 19 points a game from January forward, I think, says a lot. And again, without Klay Thompson taking up minutes and stuff like that, I mean, this is it. This is his chance. Let's see what he can do. And as far I'm gonna give Kuminga what Bob Agnew used to give me at KNBR. Bob Agnew would walk in my studio in the old days, and when I was a creative director briefly, and Cyrus was my assistant, by the way.
And I was your successor. That's how. Yeah.
And Bob would open the studio door, and he would be like, "Paulie Matt, dazzle me." So that's what I'm going to say to Kuminga: dazzle me. I'm ready. You know what I mean? Show me.
Bob Agnew was a little bulldog. Short dude, stout, loud voice. I loved him as a boss because even though he can be mean sometimes, you knew where you stood no matter what. And I respect the authenticity and the genuineness and the honesty. Can we play one more clip before we wrap things up, Paulie? Sure. So because this is, I want to go back to Steve Kerr. And by the way, that last soundbite was courtesy again of Anthony Slater. This last soundbite is courtesy of Sam Gordon with the San Francisco Chronicle, who's doing a fantastic job, in my opinion, so far, carrying the beat reporter role there. And I want to play this clip. I haven't even heard this yet because Steve Kerr is talking about new assistant coach Terry Stotts' impact on this team. They're, to me, even maybe more important than the additions of DeAnthony Melton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, were the additions on this coaching staff of Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse. I thought these were huge pickups. And Terry Stotts was brought in at least partly to simplify an offense that may be a bit overwhelming for some of the players. So let's hear from Steve Kerr on how the Terry Stotts experiment is going.
Yeah, so he's been a coach who has relied on movement and flow. He taught his teams in Portland to play with a lot of rhythm, but with a little more structure. So it's one of the reasons I brought him here. We believe in the same kind of basketball, the movement and the ball changing sides. But he's been around this league a long time. He's got great ideas. He's a great teammate. I'm thrilled that Terry's here, and he'll really help him out.
Your thoughts, Paulie? Do assistant coaches make a big difference in the NBA?
Yes, I think they do. I really do. I think they do. And if you look at the entire, timeline of Steve Kerr's tenure in Golden State, it's been littered with great coaches on his staff. I mean, a lot of these guys, I don't have to go through the names, we already know them, but a lot of his assistants have gone on to become head coaches. Now, in this case, you already have a head coach in Terry Stotts. Like he said, up in Portland, he had some really good teams up there. When you have McCollum and Lillard, that backcourt, they had some really good teams about 10 years ago. And the only reason they never went further is because the Warriors used to kick their ass every year in the playoffs. But I like Terry Stotts a lot. I liked him when he was in Portland.
I love that you laughed as you said that. You're like, and they kick their ass every year.
Well, no, because I'm sorry. That's what happened. Yeah. But in fact, you know what's funny, Cyrus? I was at a playoff game at Oracle Arena. It was a Warriors Trailblazers first round game. I want to say it was a game 2 of, I don't remember if it was 14 or 15, but in any case, Warriors win the game. But the big thing I remember about that game was CJ McCollum had a 50-point game in a loss. That was crazy. In any case, Stotts is going to help. And I think he's got the demeanor. He's a veteran. The players are going to respect him automatically. So, I agree with Steve Kerr. I think it's a great addition to his staff. I really do.
All right, 2 final questions to wrap up the show. One is when Paulie's Particles launches, and this is going to be your new program. It debuts in January, and you'll have me. I'm on your show, and vice versa. We're talking hoops and surfing and skateboarding and Niners and music. Are you going to make music? Is that going to be part of the repertoire for the new program?
Yes. Yeah, a lot more music coming. In fact, Cyrus, we'll get some music guests. We'll have some local musicians on the show as well. But we'll keep making the songs. Hell yeah.
I love that. I love that we went to lunch the other day and one of the members of the Foo Fighters just showed up.
Yeah.
To play set later that day. We're like, what the hell? I had 3 questions. That was one. I apologize because I forgot to mention that Sean in the chat had a question from way earlier in the show that I wanted to get to. Opening night, the Warriors are going to play the Portland Trail Blazers. And I already have my wallpaper on my phone, which tells me that the game more specifically is going to be October 23rd, road game in Portland. Is a panic button going to be pressed, Paulie, if the Warriors lose that game?
Not at all. Not even close. No, not at all. Opening night is just, there's so much fanfare. We're all happy to be back in the building. NBA basketball is back. That's almost a bigger story on opening night than who wins or loses. And I remember the Warriors, I think it was after they won their first title, opening night the next season. I think it was San Antonio came in and just kicked the Warriors' asses. You remember that? They pounded them. And I wasn't worried then. In fact, the Warriors won another title that year. So, no, man, don't freak out. If the Niners lose opening night, if the Warriors lose in Portland opening night, no need to panic at all.
I love it. I'm totally with you. I don't think you panic on day one, but if the Warriors start the season, let's say 10-30, yes, you're freaking out, and maybe Terry Stotts is like, I'm ready. If you want to be coach,
right.
And last question, Paulie, what I thought is a fantastic show. What are you doing? What is Paulie Mack doing on Saturday night for the debut, the preseason debut of Golden State Warriors basketball?
Saturday night this weekend, I don't think I have anything on the calendar, so I'll probably be home and I'll probably be watching the game. I might have some unmentionables involved. At the time, it's Saturday night after all. I'm in the privacy of my own home. That's right, the privacy. So listen, Herbal Delights could come into the picture at some point. After all, it is legal, and I'm an advocate. So use your imagination. But I'll be home watching the game, enjoying.
I love it, dude. Does the wife watch with you? Is she a sports fan as well?
She's a big Warrior fan. Yeah, my wife is
beautiful.
Yeah, she loves him. She played hoop. She was a basketball player herself when she was younger. So yeah, she loves the Warriors. She loves the Niners. The Giants she wants to love, but they got to give us a reason for us to love them again.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. And Damien LaRoche wrote in the chat, hell yeah. I think that means he's going to pay for our flights and put us up in housing in Hawaii. So thank you. If that's what that means.
If you pull the trigger on that, I'll bring the Herbal Delish. I got you covered.
We want some privacy as well when we're in Hawaii, man.
Yes,
so,
right. No question. Yeah.
Paulie, I love you, brother. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we go? Are we tapped?
Man, it's all good. I just love hanging out with you, Cyrus. And once once I launch my show in January, I'll have you on my show. We'll keep it going, man.
Dude, I'm there anytime you want me, man. For folks out there, in case you're ever wondering, who in this world has just pure good vibes and energy, it's that dude right there, McCaffrey, man.
Thanks, brother. Love you, Cyrus.
You're one of the good ones. Thank you. Thanks to everyone. Oh, and before you go, just for the audience in general, Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer, is going to join me tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Always a pleasure to have Rick. Until then, Paulie, love you, man. Everyone can follow Paulie on Twitter at Paulie's Pod. Follow him there. And Paulie's Particles coming in.
Peace, y'all.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.